Um, so the entire project, uh, from start to where it was when they had to stop working on it due to the funds drying up, was not done at Linky. It started at the Tucker.
Well, it was a four-door sedan. It was taken out of line. It had 58 body shells. Went into the experimental department, and they started working on the car. What they wanted to do, the first thing they did was cut the roof off. And then when they found out that the chassis, because all the weight was in the back of the car, I don't know if they had this thing up on stands and they had weights in there duplicating the motor, the radiator, the battery, transmissions, and so on. And when they had the B pillar in place and the doors, they couldn't close the doors because it was bowed. If this is why they come up with a heavier frame on top of that, with the heavy tubing in the rocker panels, because there is no heavy-duty cross member as you see in a given convertible, regardless of who made it. So I'm thinking, well, this is their engineering, what they wanted to do. And what I tried to do through the years was complete the car, concentrating, finding a new old stock motor, transmission, suspension, steering, brakes, so on and so on. And this is what I set out to do. And after 28 years working on it, well, you see how far it's come along.
Yeah. So the experimental department was at the Tucker factory.
Right, but the car didn't stay there. When the government was doing their investigation, as it was told to me by Mr. Keppen, that this was a code project and there was no records of the amount of money that was being spent, that they moved the car to Lanky. But they continued to work on the car till the funds dried up.
So over the years, you acquired quite a few Tucker parts. I'm under the understanding that it was primarily from posting ads and.
Well, no, I used to go to car shows, swap meets, you name it, and then I happened to stop in at B.O.'s Wisniewski in Milwaukee, and Mr. Wisniewski is 93 years old, and he remembers the Tucker auction and so on, and he gave me a lot of names of people that were at the auction that bought lots, lot 1, 2, 3, 4, and like J.C. Whitney, Blue Star Auto, Lincoln Auto Supply, and so on and so on. Through those people, they did acquire some parts, which were generators, starters, fuel pumps, whatever, but also on the pile were like hood ornaments, taillights, steering wheels, and so on. And I tracked down as many new old stock parts that I could, and I got the name of the Isra Schliff, who bought the majority of all the parts and pieces that were left over at the auction, who in turn sold everything to a Dewey Bloomquist that had them for a year that did nothing with it. And he in turn sold everything to Wayne McKinley in O'Fallon, Illinois. And I tracked him down, and this was, I'd say, about 1983, 84, right in there. And I already had in my possession the convertible and 43. And he took me through a lot of buildings, a lot of semi-trailers that were in a row, and he showed me a lot of Tucker parts. And he's asked me if I'd be interested in buying everything that he had for $1,000. I gave him $1,000, and I brought 6 truckloads of parts. I mean, everything and anything you could think of, which gave me a super opportunity to get this car where it is today. Then in turn, a lot of the club members at the time when I was in the club needed steering wheels, hood ornaments, taillights, hubcaps, or whatever I had, and I would sell all this stuff off. Jay Basker in South Dakota needed a hood. Somebody bent his hood, so I gave him a hood. Number 7, another fella had a hood that somebody put a chain across, and when they binded it down on a truck, do you believe that they actually moved that car that way? They did. They took a chain and threw it across the hood and the top of both front fenders, and yeah, just squashed it. So I sent him a hood, and on and on and on. And with this, I was able to get the car, you know, using the funds from the sale of parts and pieces to get the car as far as it has gotten.
Okay. And from the very beginning of the project, they were planning on using a late 40s, early 50s General Motors top assembly. Is that correct?
No, the top on the car is 1946, 47, 48 Buick Super Roadmaster, and 1946, 47 Cadillac 62 series, and 47, 48 Olds 98. All took the same top bows, but the header was made by Tucker.
Okay. Okay. And in the mid-90s, there are some Tucker topics that are published. Well, Tucker Topics is published by the Tucker Club.
Correct.
And in the Tucker Topics, they talk about, again in the mid-90s, they talk about the car existing, and they don't really debate whether or not it does exist.
That's correct.
And it's, you know, it's really kind of sad that we're having to go through all this, and it's really pretty weird that they would admit its existence.
Right, acknowledge the car. They write about it in the Tucker Topics. When I used to go to the Tucker conventions and mini meets and so on, some of the fellows in the club would always ask how the Tucker project coming along. And from time to time, I did have club members that did come to the shop and look at the car, take pictures and so on. And nothing was ever brought up about it. I mean, in the Tucker Topics club paper, they would even write about it. Now, today, it's just the opposite. They for some reason, want to give me and the car a bad time, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, so you can't really think of any reason why they would do that, can you?
No.
So it just really doesn't.
Jealous. Just I feel they're jealous. They really don't explain to the general public in their articles what actually took place at the Tucker factory. And you know, again, they want you to believe that 51 cars were produced, and it's not. You know, that isn't the case. And for whatever reason that they feel they have to badmouth me, if you will, because I'll tell you what I know and how I know it, and what actually happened, and who was responsible. Well, they don't want you to hear that. You know, they don't want past members or new members, you know, to hear that stuff. So, but I got to it's to the point where, you know, it goes in one ear and out the other. You know, they've been invited many times to come and examine the car, do whatever they want to do. It never happens.